Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ground Truth, a podcast from Phantom Auto. I'm your host, Tyler Kern. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the show. Today, we're discussing an exciting partnership between Phantom Auto and Mitsubishi Logisnext. And joining me to discuss the details of this partnership and what it means for the future of the warehouse floor is, first of all, Elliot Katz, co-founder and chief business officer at Phantom Auto. Elliot, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely thrilled to have you on the show. And we're also joined today by Brian Markison. He is the Senior Director of AGV Sales for Mitsubishi Logisnext Americas. Brian, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I am pumped to have both of you guys on and to be discussing a really exciting partnership between your two companies. And so, Elliot, let's start off with you. Can you start off just by giving us the basics of this partnership between Phantom Auto and Mitsubishi Logisnext?
Sure, absolutely. So we are honored to be working directly with Mitsubishi Logisnext to do a few different things. Integrate our software, leverage their dealer network for field service and maintenance, have Phantom-powered forklifts built and shipped straight from the Logisnext factory floor, and opportunities to deploy our solution to existing Mitsubishi Logisnext customers. So it's a very exciting partnership that we are proud of, and our customers are chomping at the bit to get involved.
Brian, is there any context you'd like to add from the Mitsubishi side of things? Just the details of this partnership and what you're excited about.
Well, I was going to say, from the standpoint, Elliot kind of hit the high-level pieces. I mean, what it does is leverage our capabilities within our manufacturing facilities and our ability to customize our forklifts to adapt them to accept the technology that Phantom Auto has developed and created. And then, part of our business model in the material handling side is to populate the field with product for our dealer network to take care of. So again, putting products out there that are remote operated by Phantom Auto and the dealer network be capable of servicing them is a win-win for us. And then, the opportunity to help serve our customers that are looking to continue to improve and address issues that they have with labor pools and other challenges that they're seeing with their warehouse operations.
Absolutely. So, Brian, as a follow-up, where do you see this partnership providing the largest benefit to end users?
Well, I think the biggest challenge that people have is the just maintaining a labor force that's there every day and able to do the warehouse jobs. There are multiple articles out in the material handling industry about logistic warehouses not being able to fulfill jobs, and there's hundreds of thousands of them going unfulfilled. And with the continued expansion of e-commerce and other platforms that are speeding products to the market from the standpoint of a single product or a box to go to a customer direct, the demands on logistics and warehousing in general has increased multiple times. So they're challenged with how do they address and keep that speed. So this product that actually Phantom Auto has created is able to address that and allows you to remote operate a vehicle in one location, turn around and pop right over to a different location and take care of an issue or a movement there, and be able to leverage a staff to be fully capable of actually sitting no different than we are right now at their desk in their office and work out on the factory floor, which would be a much more appealing job for a lot of folks than working in a hot, sweaty warehouse.
That's a great point. Elliot, any follow-up to Brian's comments and what he sees as the benefits for the end users?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of our end user customers, the biggest issue, which Brian really hit on the head, is labor, right? Attracting and retaining labor to operate forklifts. And one of the things that is unique about our technology is we remove that geographic barrier to hiring, right? Formerly, our end user customers would only have the ability to hire people within commuting distance of their warehouses. And given the labor shortage in the space today, you're looking at major gaps. I mean, our customers have sometimes hundreds of active positions that they need to fill. And so with our technology, with the ability, we have software integrated into Mitsubishi Unicarrier forklifts. You have the ability to hire anywhere around the country. And what's unique about that is obviously there's a benefit that runs to our customers, the employers, because they are looking to attract and retain talent, right? They need to fill these jobs, but also for people that are geographically isolated or coming out of the pandemic looking for work, there's benefit running to the employee as well, as they can do this job from anywhere in the country.
So Elliot, what are the different applications for your unmanned forklift technology?
Yeah, so there's really two ways that our customers are using our technology today. The first is for autonomy edge cases. So say you have an AMR or autonomous forklift, and it's being deployed in your warehouse, a live warehouse environment where you have other vehicles, you have other humans, you have stuff on the ground. There's still many edge cases that exist today. And so with our technology, you have one human that could be sitting anywhere in the country, remotely operating multiple autonomous forklifts at once. And anytime that those forklifts run into any sort of edge case, it could be as simple as, paper shreds on the ground and it doesn't know what to do, it will come to a stop. And at that point, the remote monitor can remotely assist the autonomous vehicle, meaning, give it a command, a simple turn left, turn right, yes, no, stop, go, or draw it a path to follow. And then the other thing that we can do if you're in dealing with a complex or dynamic edge case is actually remotely drive the vehicle, get it around whatever edge case or situation the autonomy cannot deal with, and then once in a better place, pass back control to the autonomous system. So that's one way that we work with our customers in terms of getting their autonomous forklifts deployed. The second way that we work with our customers is fully remotely operated forklifts. So this is one human operating one forklift at once. And again, you can do so from anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. And our customers are working with us on this application for three main reasons. The first one is health and safety, right? Our customers are looking to drastically reduce the amount of people they have physically inside their warehouses. Right now, it's a health risk with COVID, but also there's an ever-present safety risk, right? If you can remove this person from a potentially hazardous environment like a warehouse into an office building, it's a safety win. The second big driver here is labor accessibility. There's an acute labor shortage in the space right now, and we removed that geographic restriction to hiring so that formerly our customers could only hire within commuting distance of their warehouse. Now their labor pool is the entire country, if not the world. And the third big driver here is productivity and efficiency. The ability to have remote drivers in a centralized digital driving center that can remote into any facility across the country as you're experiencing surges or overflows really leads to a massive productivity gain.
Brian, from your perspective, what made Phantom Auto and their technology the right partner for Mitsubishi Logisnext when it came to this sort of application?
Well, it's actually very interesting because it's a unique solution from how they approach the challenge that people are trying to address in terms of their labor force. Automation in general is a big buzzword, but there's still some limitations in terms of the applications that can address. And there's still challenges in how you emulate the ability for a human to make a decision that is manually operating a vehicle rather than a robot, for the lack of a better word. So this actually kind of bridges those two areas in that sense and provides a solution that can go in and can address all applications because you have the decision capability of a human operating it, and yet the ability to flex that into multiple different applications fairly quickly. So that was an important piece. I mean, part of my role within Mitsubishi Logisnext is to try to expand our technologies and our partners, and this was an ideal fit for both what we both needed from both sides of the equation here.
100%. And on the flip side, Elliot, from your perspective, what excites you about partnering with a company like Mitsubishi Logisnext and what they're doing and the capabilities that they have?
Sure. So first, just kind of dovetailing off of what Brian said, there's two applications of our unmanned forklift technology. And the one is we have, a group of customers that have come to us really with the scars on their back from trying to actually deploy autonomy, right? Get out of that pilot sandbox environment and into an actual live warehouse environment where you have other vehicles, you have other humans, you have stuff on the ground. And so we have the ability with our remote communication software to have a human in the loop, even when you have these AMRs or autonomous forklifts roaming around these warehouses, so that anytime those forklifts run into any sort of edge case that the autonomy can't handle, you have a human that's monitoring, let's say, 5, 6, 7 forklifts at once. And when there's a problem, they can remotely assist, meaning give the forklift a command, draw out a path, or even remotely drive that forklift to get it out of that situation, whatever situation the autonomy can't deal with, and then pass back control of the system to the autonomous forklift. So that's one application of our technology. A second application of our technology is fully remotely operated forklifts. So a one-to-one, one human operating one forklift at once, but they can be doing so from anywhere in the country. And there's many benefits to that are driving our customers to that application of our technology as well, which I think I'll cover shortly here. But with that backdrop in mind, the excitement surrounding our ability to partner with a company like Mitsubishi Logisnext, to me, is a no-brainer to Phantom and a no-brainer to our customer base, right? Mitsubishi is one of the largest forklift manufacturers in the world, and many of our even pre-existing customers have Mitsubishi and Unicarriers and their other brands of forklifts that they own in their fleets today, right? Mitsubishi is also a long-standing leader in manufacturing, distributing, and servicing advanced vehicle technologies, right? They've really leaned in to this next frontier of going from, a human manually operating these vehicles to, a human doing the same thing from a distance, or a human assisting a machine doing that exact same activity. So by combining Mitsubishi's capabilities with our software expertise, we can much more rapidly scale to meet our customer demand, not only in 2021, but well beyond.
That's some fantastic stuff. I love getting a chance to hear that. And I'm curious, Brian, to hear your perspective on this. Do you anticipate that a move like this and continuing to scale what is going on with your partnership will, change the future and kind of alter the landscape of operations and logistics moving forward? Do you anticipate that that's something that could happen from this partnership?
I think it's an important step because, as I kind of alluded to earlier, automation in general is just a growing sentiment within the material handling, because they're trying to address the labor issue and the ability to meet the demand that their products or their offerings trying to address. And this is a solution that is something that can be applied and can get applied, that it can handle the full spectrum of types of applications that you have, because we don't have to try to create an algorithm or advanced AI enough to address how you would manage an AMR or an AGV through the varying applications or just changes in the environment that a human would be able to see it identify it and address what they need to do with the vehicle at that point in time. So I think it has the ability to be something that is, road ready to start being deployed throughout just about any operation that has the need for moving material.
And Elliot, what about you? How do you feel like this changes the landscape of operations and logistics moving forward?
I would say a couple things. So first of all, for our customers that are looking to scale unmanned forklifts, this partnership enables them to purchase Mitsubishi and Unicarrier's forklifts that have our remote communication software pre-integrated, right? And we publicly announced our partnership, I believe, in May of this year. And instantly, our customer base and some of Mitsubishi's customer base began to reach out. And so already today, we've had multiple three-way meetings with customers who want to scale up with Phantom-powered Unicarriers. And that's exciting for us. That's exciting for our customers, that there's more of a streamlined process as to how they can deploy these vehicles in their warehouses. And obviously, it's a great thing for Mitsubishi as well, right? They're gaining real estate in some of our customers' massive forklift fleets. But in terms of how, if I'm to zoom out, how is this going to change the broader landscape? I really think there's three categories. So I hit on earlier labor accessibility. There's been a labor shortage in this space. It's grown more acute, actually, as we exit the pandemic. And so the ability to hire people from anywhere is a game changer in and of itself. In addition to creating a bigger pool of labor, we're also able, with our solution, to diversify that labor pool, right? So we have customers that we have a public customer in Geodis where we've already trained multiple female remote operators. They call them digital drivers to do this job, right? Currently, the status quo is that 80% plus of forklift operators are male. We have customers that have plans for wheelchair-bound folks and other people with disabilities to be digital drivers, remote operators of forklifts who would have never had the opportunity to manually operate a forklift. And then, as I mentioned before, there's people who are just in geographically isolated areas who don't have the opportunities to work at these warehouses. So we're not only expanding the labor pool, we're diversifying the labor pool, which is a very important aspect for a lot of our customers. So that's on the labor accessibility piece. I would say an ever-present driver in this space is safety, right? 1 in 10 forklifts are involved in an accident each year. That can unfortunately lead to serious bodily injury, even unfortunately death. And so the ability to take that forklift operator out of a potentially hazardous environment and put them into, an office building like the one I'm sitting in right now, that's a major, major safety gain. And then also when we're talking about 2020 and 2021, we've been dealing with the pandemic, right? So also there's health risks to people physically being inside these warehouses. And so again, if you can get the same output with the exact same forklifts doing the exact same activity, but have humans, socially distanced in an office environment, even doing this from home, that's a major win on the health and safety side as well. And then the last piece of this, I think that is going to be a game changer for the industry as a whole, is the productivity and efficiency gains that you can gain by utilizing our system. And the example I would use, we work with very large customers that have facilities all across the U.S. So say you're in the U.S. and, you have a centralized digital driving center in a central location of the U.S. All of a sudden you have overflow or a surge in your warehouse in New Jersey. instantly on demand. You can click a button and get 5, 10, 15, 20 additional remote drivers to deal with that surge or overflow in real time, right? There's no more, oh, we need to, reach out to a temp agency or somehow bring in more bodies to get this work done. There can be a lot of lag there. It can take many hours, if not days. This can happen within minutes, right? And so say those remote drivers go to help out with the overflow in New Jersey and things normalize there, but now there's a surge in Oregon, right? You can click the same button instantly on demand, have those same remote drivers at your warehouse in Oregon dealing with that surge in real time. So it's really a way for the supply chain to be more resilient and for us to be able to deal with these supply chain shocks in real time and on demand. And the last thing that I'll say is that for many of our customers, what they've expressed to us is that they have somewhat of an aging workforce, and the next generation that's coming up, digital natives or people that are very much in touch with technology and video games and computers don't necessarily want to do this job. And one of the main reasons why they don't want to do this job is because they view it as a job that could be displaced, right, by essentially robots doing the same activity. But with our technology, when it comes to fully remotely operated forklifts, we're really flipping that because this is human-centric technology. This is technology working together with a human that's already been doing this job or that is new to this job to augment their position. And so it's really been a way, going back to my first point about attracting and retaining talent, it's been a really cool, innovative, tech-forward way to attract that next generation of digital natives to do these jobs in warehouses in a way that's going to be sustainable and in a fashion that's going to exist for decades to come.
I think that's really well put. It really puts together all of the different ingredients that it takes to make a successful partnership like this. And I think the context of where we are right now in the world in 2021 really makes this a really timely partnership to come together. And I think it'll be extremely successful as a result of all the different factors that you just laid out, Elliot. And so, guys, as we begin to wrap up this conversation today, I want to give each of you an opportunity just to close us out with any closing thoughts, anything we haven't touched on yet here on the podcast that you want to make sure we mention before we wrap things up. So, Brian, let me kick it to you first. Any closing thoughts, anything you want to leave our audience with here today?
No, I just think it's a very strong partnership that's going to continue to grow and evolve and expand. And I think the opportunity for customers to explore this technology and deploy it could be readily surprised, I think, in the sense of, how this can come into their facilities and be up and running in a matter of days. I think from my standpoint, our organization is very excited about the opportunity of working with Phantom. The technology is, pretty cool and has a cool factor about it. So it has some buzz going through our group, especially our engineers, to get an opportunity to work on that. And frankly, we do see the transition from manned vehicles eventually over to automated type vehicles in some form or fashion. So, being able to work alongside with Phantom is an important, aspect in our growth, as well as we continue to explore and be innovative and address needs that the industry needs or has for, labor and moving. Elliot brought up a great safety point. That's a statistic that pretty much happens every year, fairly consistently. So we're just looking forward to more to come and to continue to evolve it and address as much of the customer needs as we can.
I love it. Elliot, final thoughts here on the podcast today.
Yeah, I think that if 2020 and 2021 have taught us anything, it's that we can be effective working remotely, and at times we have to be able to work remotely. And for myself and for Brian and Tyler, I'm sure for you, as long as we have our cell phones and our computers and Zoom, we can work from home, right? And what we are doing with our technology is making sure that people who are doing physical labor, right, forklift operators, can have that same freedom, right? You can think of this as almost Zoom for the physical world. And 2020 and 2021 highlighted why it's important and how it can be done. And I think this partnership is just going to take us to the next level in terms of our customers scaling up what was already a consequence, you could say, of the pandemic. Pandemic was negative, but this is going to be a positive consequence to come out and see that people can actually work remotely in a safer environment, right? The warehouse is potentially hazardous. When you're working in an office building, it's a win for the employee, and it's also a win for the employer. And that's what makes this human-centric technology unique. And that's what makes us very excited about our partnership and honored, quite frankly, to be partnering with a brand in the space like Mitsubishi Logisnext.
Elliot and Brian, it's been a pleasure having you guys on the podcast today here discussing the amazing partnership between Phantom Auto and Mitsubishi Logisnext. It's been an absolute pleasure. Gentlemen, thank you again for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you
so much.
Absolutely. And everyone, thank you for joining us for this episode of the show. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast to stay up to date with the latest from Phantom Auto, make sure you go subscribe now on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. There you can get the latest episodes, go back and listen to previous episodes, all of those good things. And of course, check out Phantom Auto on their website as well to learn more. But for this episode, for my fantastic guests, I've been your host today, Tyler Kern. Thanks for joining us.